Welcome to Portillo, a resort set high in the Andes Mountains of Chile. It is famous for its skiing, but it is open year-round, also now, in the middle of summer, here in the Southern Hemisphere. Hi, I'm Morten Solvik, Vice President of Mahler Foundation and host and producer of the Mahler Hour, where we bring you the personalities, places, and projects happening right now in the Mahler community around the world. As you can see, the setting here is not entirely unlike the places of retreat that Mahler sought for his composing during the summer months, especially the high peaks around Toblach in South Tyrol. We might imagine him tackling some of the trails around here, relishing the fresh air and the stunning beauty of the surrounding nature. There is a slight difference, though, with those alpine settings. I'm standing at close to 3,000 meters. That's nearly 10,000 feet, or approaching 2 miles above sea level. Those peaks around me are all around 4,000 meters. But as spectacular as this setting is, the most exciting aspect of this place right now is what is taking place right over there in the hotel, namely the Academy and Festival of Music at Portillo. Let's have a look.
¿Qué recuerdos quieres tener de este verano? Este fin de semana comienzan días inolvidables en el Hotel Portillo. Música, teatro, poesía, actividades al aire libre y buena comida. Experiencias que nunca olvidarás y desconexión total en un paisaje espectacular. Este domingo es la apertura del Festival Academia Internacional de Música Portillo, uno de los más importantes de América Latina. Del 15 al 22 de enero en el Hotel Portillo. Sube, te estamos esperando.
Well, it's very exciting to be here. During this episode of the Mahler Hour, we will be getting to know the Portillo Festival from the inside and discover why this is such a special event, especially this year, as we will be tackling Mahler's late masterpiece, The Song of the Earth. Before we begin, let me remind everyone attending live to post any questions you might have to the comments section. We will get to these at the end of our show. Don't forget to include your name, or at least the city and country you are writing from. Also, the Mahler Hour is brought to you by Mahler Foundation, so if you want to support our activities, please become a member. Just go to our website at mahlerfoundation.org for all of the details. Joining me today is the founder and artistic director of the Portillo Academy and Festival, Alejandra Urrutia. Welcome.
Hi, Morten.
So, what is the Portillo Festival?
Portillo Festival is an idea that came to me a few years ago as I was working with a youth orchestra in Chile, in the south of Chile, and I wanted to create something incredible for them, to spend their times together, making music and creating a special time for them, for all of them.
So how do you turn a vision into reality? What exactly takes place here?
Well, of course, I had this amazing idea, and I have a team that works with me that believed in this idea, and we started working on it, and we ended up being here in an amazing place here at the Hotel Portillo. It's a bit around the mountains of the Andes, and it's just an incredible place to be inspired, to make music, and to study really hard. And meeting new musicians and new friends, which is also very important for us.
So tell us, what is a typical week in Portillo? How is it structured?
Well, we start every day with a yoga class at 7:15. It's really fantastic because you feel that your entire body is awakening every morning. And then we have all together.
But why is yoga so important? I mean, this is a
yes.
for musicians, right?
Oh, it's extremely important for us. The teacher that we have, he really make us to be aware of our body and to be conscious about our body, because at the end that's our instrument that we need to take care of always, every day. So it's very interesting because the teacher also follows the students around the hotel, just to making sure that they have the best postures ever, so they can bring that, of course, to their playing and eventually to the performance. So continuing with the day. So then we have all breakfast together, and then at 10 start the classes from 10 to 1. The chamber groups, which is string quartets and woodwind quintets, they all go to their master classes with the teachers, and then we go for lunch, and then they continue with master classes in the afternoon. And many times we also have different activities, like we have, for example, poetry. We had a night of slam poetry, so and theater. So the idea is to really mix all these activities and together, and also realizing how important all the art together is. I mean, this experience is more than music. The idea is to make it a very holistic festival, and that's the purpose.
So during the first few days, they're working on chamber music repertoire,
yes,
with coaches on a one-to-one in small groups, and then towards the end of the week, they start to form an orchestra.
Yes.
So tell me how you select these students, because they come from many different countries, and you group them first as chamber ensembles.
Yes, so they go through the process of, they had to apply for the festival, of course. We have a specific repertoire for them. They can apply in two different ways, either as an individual or as groups that are already formed. So after they send the videos and they answer a questionnaire, because it's important for us to know why they're interested in coming to Portillo. So then with the teachers and myself, we select the students. We had a really amazing, many students applied this year, 260 students, and unfortunately we only have we get to pick 52 of them. But it's really incredible, because the level gets higher and higher every summer, and that's the idea, of course.
And you group these musicians into 8 string quartets and 4 wind quintets.
Yes.
And not only are they working on chamber literature, by the end of the week, or even the middle of the week, they're presenting these in concert.
Yes. This is of course part of the festival, that they have the opportunity to perform in front of an audience and in front of themselves, because actually in my own experience, playing in front of your peers is the hardest experience. So we want them to experience this. We want them to feel uncomfortable and to learn from that of being uncomfortable. But also, what is important to me as a conductor is that, coming from Latin America and being able to work with different orchestras in South America, I noticed that chamber music was something that probably all the musicians, professional musicians, needed to work with as an orchestra player. So the idea of putting them in chamber music groups is for them to really understand what it means to play with other musicians, to learn to communicate with one another, which is very important, no? Because you have to find a language that is inspiring with your colleagues that you're playing with. And so at the end, we have this orchestra where all the students and some of the teachers play, and of course all these concepts that they have learned playing chamber music, you bring them to the rehearsals.
Um, there's a special atmosphere here at Portillo. I mean, you describe all of these students. How many different countries are they from this year?
Well, we have from at least,
Well, some of them, Austria.
yeah, Austria, Argentina, Chile, Colombia, Venezuela, Mexico, the United States, and Canada. So it's really an amazing, diverse group of students.
And some of them have been here before, and some of them are brand new.
Yes.
I'll never forget when the two buses arrived, and there was almost this festive atmosphere. Everybody was, first of all, happy to be here. They'd just come in from Santiago, and they've gotten to know each other a little bit on the bus. And you are waiting as a almost, you were so excited to see your new charges come up to this beautiful place. Yeah,
for me, the academy, of course, is the most important part of the festival. And when the students come, it's like they bring all this energy and light to this place, because we have to understand that this is a hotel, but when they come, they bring music to every corner of the hotel. And for me, it's very special. And of course, I love young musicians because I feel that I have hope in them, and that really touches my heart. And that's the main reason, actually, why I created this festival, because I want them to have opportunities that I had, and I want them to have here in Chile, in this beautiful setting. And so yes, for me the most special moment is when the students come at the hotel.
And of course, it's joined in by everyone. I mean, the students, you'll find them downstairs practicing at 11, 12 at night, making sure that they're ready for the next day's work, and they put in such devotion into what they're doing here. So the people you select really want to come. They know why they're coming, and they get so much out of these few days. So let's talk a little bit about where we are, because I think that's also an aspect of the excitement and the very special nature of this event. We're on top of a mountain almost. Yes. We're right up to the Argentinian border, at a very high elevation, which of course takes time to get used to.
Absolutely.
And how did you end up being able to come here?
Well, when I had this idea, I talked to my team, which is Caroline and Angelica, and they both knew the owner of the hotel. They have done some work here, workshops, and I have been here before also. And when this idea came, actually the three of us thought Portillo should be the place. And it makes total sense with the idea of the festival, because we really want to inspire the musicians, not the young ones, also the teachers, but also we really strive towards excellence in music, and excellence in nature, and excellence in the hotel and the service. So for us, it was the perfect match. And when we talked to the owner of the hotel, they were really into the idea. So we were lucky in that sense.
So it's the Purcell family that runs the hotel. And we are now in summertime here, so it's really an off-season for them. This is a wonderful ski resort. Some of the greatest alpine ski teams from the world come here and train during what is summer in Europe. They come down here in July and June to train. But now we're a little bit in the off season. It's summertime. It's absolutely gorgeous, and this is an opportunity again for them to do something special and during their summer months.
I mean, this festival is unique. Up in the mountains during summertime, with people all around the world. I think it's just perfect.
And of course, we have guests here at the hotel who have the pleasure of going to a concert every evening, and a presentation usually as well.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about the teachers, because they are an essential part of this. You have wind instructors and string instructors. Let's start with the wind instructors.
Well, all the wind instructors come from South America, from the most important orchestras in South America. So we have a teacher for each instrument, so flute, oboe, clarinet, bassoon, and French horn. And again, the idea is that each of them works with the four woodwind quintets. So it's very, very intense. And the good thing about the winds is that there is a lesser number. So it's 20 students, so they really have a chance to work very closely with the teachers, which is for me is very important, that they have the time to talk to them, to ask them questions, to share time with them, because again, this is just not a festival that deals with music only, but also the human part. So all the students get a chance to have lunch with the teachers, to probably even jump in the swimming pool, which we haven't done yet. So it's very important for me that to create that sense of community here in Portillo. And also then the teachers, the string teachers, we're very lucky to have the American String Quartet. As a student at the University of Michigan, as a violinist, the American String Quartet was in residence at the university, so I already had a chance to work with them, me as a student. So for me, it's really a dream that comes true, to have them here and to experience this place, but also for them to share all their knowledge and experience as performers, which is very important.
I had a chance to sit down and talk to the quartet a little bit earlier today. Let's have that film. I'm delighted to be here at the Portillo Festival today to welcome the American String Quartet. Daniel Avshalomov, viola, Lori Carney, violin, Peter Wintergrad, violin. Welcome.
Thank you.
You're just back from a rehearsal,
Mm-hmm.
and it's Das Lied von der Erde. What a piece.
Astonishing. As Lori was saying before we were on air, it's from a corner of the repertoire where string quartets are not represented. And for me, it's the one reason that I crave orchestral experience, because there's Mahler, Strauss, Bruckner, and none of them produced any important chamber music. Well, Bruckner, the viola quintet, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But that's the only example from this language that we have. So it's a thrill to be able to be a part of this.
Yeah. And you're a part of something much larger, of course. You've been here all week. You are essentially coaching the entire string section, and it's not just Mahler, it's also chamber music.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about what you're doing on a daily basis and how you're interacting with the students.
Well, we are the coaches of the students, preparing them for their chamber music concerts, which have already happened. But most of the week we are working hours and hours a day, trying in a very short period of time to get them to get deeper and actually perfect, so that they can perform in front of the audience some of the core repertoire of our chamber music. And so a lot of Beethoven and Brahms and Mozart and Haydn and Schubert and Shostakovich, and it's been just an incredible joy, because I think when you do such an intense amount of work in such a short time, you're really able to get at a lot of the deeper aspects of the works and see the students progress and learn about this type of stuff.
And for them, it's actually a very close parallel to coming up to this elevation, because they're here suddenly at 9,000, 9,500 feet, and they're here suddenly with new colleagues and new repertoire, and they only have this amount of time to adjust. They may be short of breath during coachings, but they have to make the adjustment.
And I always think in a festival like this, one of the really great things about it is that in a school year, you see your teachers once a week for an hour. And then there's sort of a lot of downtime, and there's no downtime here, and they're seeing us 5 hours a day. So I think if you think of it in terms of education and the way the growth happens, it goes like this when you have a school year. But when you come to a festival like this, or sometimes summer festivals, which are slightly longer, the growth can just be
Again,
yeah,
right?
but really monumental. And I think that type of immersion into the process is just wonderful. They're loving it.
I think that they had probably as much coaching in 1 week as most of our students in conservatories have in an entire semester.
And you've also been active, so there's chamber music coaching, there's preparation for the Das Lied von der Erde, and then you've also been performing. I've heard you 3 times this week, and it's just been so wonderful. How do you manage to put all that together?
Well, we arrive with most of this music in our pockets, you know.
The music we're performing.
Right, yeah. I mean, the things we've played with Eugenio, we've played with other pianists, but still we had to sit down and rehearse with him. But it's key for us, if we're coaching people who don't know us, or maybe know us only by reputation, it's vital that they hear us perform early in the session, so that when we say, here's what you must do, they say, we've heard you do it. If they haven't heard us do it, they think, is that what I must do?
And in
Who
fact,
says?
there's another summer festival we go to when we perform at the end, and it's a little scarier because you work with them and you're telling them, do this, do this, do this. This is not good. This, and then at the end, it's like, okay, let's see you do it. Can you do it? It's nice when it's early in the festival.
Yeah.
But to go back, sorry, Lori, to go back to coaching the Mahler, that was a little daunting for us because we didn't know it. As Dan said, it's not our thing. And Lori and I were talking and saying, gee, I've practiced the parts some, but I don't know in a sectional if I can take them the way perhaps a concertmaster could through every passage and give them fingerings and say this is what it should be, because we were sort of learning on the fly a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's an intense week and a very deep engagement with the students. And you keep coming back. You come back again and again and again. You've been here, I don't know how many times you've actually been the artist.
Only our second, because
COVID.
because of COVID.
Oh, that's right.
We did a Zoom year.
So yes, we did a Zoom year, but we were here 3 years ago, and in
Right.
fact, quite a few of the students were here 3 years ago, and even after that time, we've maintained a connection with them.
So what's so special about Portillo?
Gosh, first of all, I think it's the kind of preparation that the students have had before we get our hands on them. It's different from a lot of the other festivals where we teach and perform, in that, at least in my experience, all these kids are very, very musical, and their technical training is not exactly the same as we experience elsewhere. And in fact, there's a country where we've taught and performed a lot, which will remain nameless, where the exact opposite is the case. They show up and they can play every note on the instrument, but they couldn't make a phrase out of 16 measures of Mozart if you paid them by the measure. So these kids have a deep feeling for music, and all they need is a little encouragement and some guidance in terms of how to produce what they would like to produce.
And I think also, in general, the age level is a little bit higher.
Yeah.
That many of these young artists are already semi-professionals, and they're old enough to understand and appreciate the amount of work and commitment that goes into playing string quartet.
Yeah.
There's also a spirit about this place which, in all aspects, where we are, the idea that the 4 of us, our whole lives, musical lives, has been chamber music. So that we're really enjoying this so much, and we did last time as well with the Beethoven Symphony, participating in this. Music is music, and one student came up to me and said, don't you find playing in the orchestra, do you really want to be doing this? And I said, yeah, I really do. We all do. It's really great for us. Of course, it's Mahler, but it's great fun. And then the chamber music, there's a spirit, there's a camaraderie that we've developed with everybody here.
I think, for me, one of the astonishing things about the Mahler is that I think because the kids had so much focus on chamber music at the beginning of the week, they're learning to listen in an orchestral situation as if it were chamber music. And really listening to the other voices and making sure that you're with that voice and you're producing the same kind of sound. And Allie's been a great teacher in that way, because she really makes them listen.
She encourages it so much. Not don't just follow me, but if you're with the second violin, she'll take it apart and say, listen, and the winds sort of nod their heads and say, yeah, we understand now that's
well, and I come from a family that includes or has included some conductors, and I know that what they dream of is an orchestra that listens, not just to the instruction, but to each other, because it can be made music like chamber music, if you can divide your hearing into that many parts.
And of course, this score requires that.
It does.
I'm still
Yeah.
climbing my way up.
Yeah.
As massive as the instrumentation, it's so finely
Yes.
woven together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any sort of final comments for reflecting on Mahler? We're here in a particular setting, and of course you're delving into this enormous work.
I hear some of these pieces, some of which I played as a student, some of the symphonies, and I actually did play Das Lied von der Erde many, many years ago with a questionable conductor and a questionable orchestra, and I remember it faintly. But I think about the fact that Mahler was in New York, and every now and again when I'm wishing I had the power of time travel, I would love to have been in the section there when he was at the podium, just to see how he did Mahler,
It's just incredible music, and I really appreciate also the talks that you gave, because I think I've always enjoyed it on a musical level, hearing the sounds and having them hit me. But I've sort of had an epiphany this week through what you've been able to do with communicating his philosophical vision, and that's gotten into me now. And so as we play it, it's taken it to a new level in terms of understanding and in terms of reaction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I've played 2 Mahler symphonies when I was in college, so that was a long time ago, and haven't touched a note of it since. So this is it's not only just incredible music, but it's an incredible experience to be a part of it.
Well, thank you so much for coming in today. Wolfram Kessel, the cellist, could not be with us today, but I'm glad to hear from the three of you, and thank you once again for being such a vital part of Portillo.
Thank you.
Delighted to be here.
It was tremendous talking to the quartet, and I must say, listening to them has been a real treat, and I think the students feel very, very inspired by having such leading artists literally attending to them, and their devotion is just obvious. It must be real, as you said, a real thrill for them to actually be here and to help your students.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm thrilled that they are here.
Yeah.
It's really wonderful.
The performances were just amazing. So I want to talk a little bit more about the students, because as you say, one of your goals is to bring to the students not just practicing. It's so much more than that. So we have yoga. We also have personal coaching. Is there sort of a coaching aspect to this? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, for us it's very important that that we as artists understand the role in our society. So we try to give them tools during the festival, so they can think and reflect about these things. We have Caroline Ward, she comes from Australia, and she's part of the team, and she works all these aspects with the students, from teaching them how to speak in front of an audience, from maybe dealing with a situation that is happening in a chamber music group. No, because you become very, very sensitive to the situation in a chamber music group. In a rehearsal, if somebody tells you something in a certain way, you have to make sure that you don't take that personally, because it's not about you, it's about the music. But they are students, and they're in the process of learning this. So Caroline makes sure that everybody feels comfortable and supported. But she also works with coaching in terms of teaching them how to think about their dreams, because when you play an instrument, you spend so much time with your instrument, and sometimes we lack the other side of thinking ahead of what you want to do, or who do you want to become. So she's very, very important in that process of the festival, which I believe is very, very important.
Because music making, unlike many other activities, is a very intimate revelation of who you are. Playing an instrument or singing is something that comes from a very deep side of yourself, and you're presenting that to the public, to your friends, to your colleagues, and to the world. And I think it's easy to overlook this aspect of of performance, because it is also who you are in some deep way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I really believe that everything you are inside, you bring it outside through your instrument. That is why it's so important to have amazing training, technical training, so you can have the ability to express yourself. But it is like that, and in who you are, it is reflected in your playing. And if you're not feeling so well, so you have to have tools for that to leave it in the side and go into on stage with confidence.
It's been my pleasure to get to know some of these students this week, and also to interact with them in my role as a musicologist.
Yes.
I was asked by you to come here and talk about this lead to the students, and we had a sort of evening gathering, and almost every one of the students came by to hear what a musicologist has to say about a composer and a piece of music. It shows their interest in beyond the notes, as you're saying, who they are, what they're doing, and why.
I mean, I'm so thankful that you're here and you have been able to share this your knowledge of Mahler and his work with the students. I mean, I was completely at awe both nights. How much they want to know.
Yeah.
The questions that they ask, it's just amazing. And so I'm really thankful that you're here and we get to hear your experience with Mahler, like on stage and outside of stage, which is it gives a really a deeper view of the piece for us.
And it shows how eager they are to know more than simply technique. And of course, that's one of I think the great aspects of this festival. I had a chance to talk to some of the students earlier as well. Let's hear from them now. What is your name, your age, and where do you come from?
I am Maria Fernanda Rubiano Pulido. I am 24 years old and I'm from Colombia.
My name is Leonie Ras. I'm 18 years old and I'm from Austria.
My name is Tomás Ruz. I'm 23 years old and I'm from Santiago, Chile.
My name is Rafaela Vicuña. I have 20 years old and I'm from Chile, Santiago de Chile.
My name is Carlos Rodriguez. I'm 21 years old and I'm from Santiago, Chile.
What is your instrument and when did you begin playing?
I play the viola and I started to play when I was 11 years old.
My instrument is the violin and I started to play with 4 years.
I do play violin and I started to play when I was 12.
My instrument, the instrument I play is the cello and I play since I have 6 years.
My instrument is violoncello and I started to play like 13 or 14 years old.
What does music mean to you?
Music means to me everything, but honestly it's more like peace. For me it's peace.
For me music means, in my whole life all is about music, and yeah, I think without music I will not be the person who I am.
To me it means like basically my whole life. I've been doing this. I started to play violin when I was 12, but I've been doing music since I was pretty child.
For me, the music is all what we need in this world and what I need in my internal world, and is love, and it's all.
I think that music is something so beautiful because you can generate emotions with music in people, and it's so beautiful.
What is the best part of Portillo for you?
The rehearsals, especially the music chamber part. Well, so far I have lived just that part, yes, until this point. But yes, the rehearsals with my chamber group has been the best part.
For me, the people are really nice here, and all are really kind to me. And I also like that we are playing chamber music, because in other orchestra festivals there's only orchestra and no chamber music.
Well, there are a lot of really good stuffs, but I think the best part is to be able to have classes with so good professors as the American String Quartet.
The connection with the nature, the music, and people are good.
For me, the best part of Portillo is, I don't know, share with my colleagues, my friends, and play music with them. I think that is the most beautiful thing that I can see.
What is it like playing the Song of the Earth? And what do you think of Gustav Mahler?
Wow, it's incredible. I don't know. It's like I didn't imagine that a lead could be that potent, like that big, like wash. So I feel like playing in something that has a lot of power. So yes, I don't know. I feel proud of playing this.
For me, it's a really interesting piece, because I also understand the whole titles of the pieces. Yeah, and I think it's also really beautiful for me. And for me, Mahler is a very impressive composer.
It's a really deep question, I think, because the last few days with your conversations, to me it has been kind of cathartic. Like, I haven't read the text before this festival, and now knowing the lyrics is so meaningful and it's so full of emotions that you can describe easily.
I feel very good playing this piece, because it's a very complete piece, and I love Gustav Mahler. Is one of my favorite composers, and I love his way to think and to write.
I think that play the Song of the Earth is like playing a whole world into one piece of music.
Wow.
Quite moving.
It's quite moving to watch that, isn't it? And it really summarizes so well some of the things that we've been pointing out. And it's experienced by the students. That's the whole point, isn't it? Well, we have some time, and we do want to talk about the Song of the Earth. You are conducting this piece, and you've just had a few rehearsals already. There will be a few more. There will be a dress rehearsal on Sunday that will be attended by the visitors here at the hotel. And then it's off to Santiago, to the Municipal Theater, with the performance on Monday and on Tuesday. So how's it going? And what's the feeling?
It's just fantastic. This is the first time I get to do this piece, and it's just so moving. I mean, it's very hard for me to express what is happening inside of me, because of course you have to spend time with the score, studying it, reviewing it all the time, and now I get to experience this piece with an orchestra in front of me, and with the wonderful two singers. It's just so incredible, so incredible. I mean, the sound is such a sweet piece. No, you have such a huge orchestra in front of you, but there's so much sweetness in this piece, and at the same time, it feels very comfortable. I feel that the music moves so in such an organic way that I feel that if it seems to me that I have learned this piece in such a long time ago. So I'm just completely thankful for the life giving me the experience to do this work here in Portillo with these wonderful also students and great teachers and two wonderful soloists. And I'm just really, really happy. And I'm really thankful that you are here, that you have had the opportunity to share this this work with all the students, because it makes a huge difference. When I rehearse now and I talk to them about what the songs are about, they understand right away because they relate now to the piece, and that's what it should be.
Mm-hmm. You've mentioned the soloists. I want to talk more about the piece, but you mentioned the soloists. We have one of them with us here today, Portillo Festival. Please join us for a conversation.
Okay.
So, Portillo,
Hi.
tell us a little bit about where you're from and where you studied.
Okay. My name is Portillo Festival. I am from Santiago, Chile. I was born in Santiago, and I studied in the University of Chile last year in Santiago. Then I did an upgrade in Switzerland and Swiss with a big master.
Master classes, yeah.
A big master. A big master with Bruno Pola, a big singer. Great, important singer in the world.
So you've come here to Portillo, and you are singing the baritone part, movements 2, 4, and 6 of Das Lied. That must be quite exciting and something of a challenge.
This is always a challenge for any singer, and for the baritons too, because Mahler wrote the piece in the kind of technically in a section, and a little bit awkward section of the voice, you know. So in this sixth number, number 6, lead number 6, he wrote about 2 poems. You know much more about Mahler.
No, the 2 poems, yes.
I'm very overwhelmed about you.
You're singing both.
Yeah, both. And he wrote that piece, the last piece, in a really awkward
part of the range.
Part of the range. The range of the voice. So I needed to study a lot of and improving day by day, working now with my maestra. Yeah.
So and as a conductor, what are some of the challenges as well? So we know that in the baritone range, especially because you come to the end of the last movement, we have that high E, which is supposed to be pianissimo. What are some of the challenges as a conductor in getting inside this piece?
Well, yes, of course, the last movement is just an incredible piece. I started 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no, and so everything was wow. The orchestra is really getting this. It's like the spirit of the piece, and then we started working on the last movement. It's like, oh. Wow!
It's another work.
Exactly. It's like so we were rehearsing this morning the last movement, and of course the challenges are how we make this piece so it doesn't cover the voice. It's very important. Like I said before, it's a big orchestra, but I just love how Mahler makes sure that we orchestra and the singer are just one entity, so I had to really make sure that I always listening to Patricio, and that we don't cover him.
That is
right?
the most important part and the most difficult because I said before when Mahler wrote that part of this masterpiece, he did it in over the passaggio. You know the
passage
the word
to
passaggio. You are a singer. Other day singing Camina Mura. yeah. That is the most difficult part because you need to tell exactly words the poem. Okay, sorry for that. The poem, and you don't need to sing out loud because it's not the masterpiece. It's not the feeling of the soul of the composer.
That's right.
Yeah,
and quite the contrary.
Yeah,
the farewell is getting softer and softer and dissipating and actually disappearing.
Yeah.
At the same time, you've got to hit those pitches, and the orchestra.
Every time much more.
Yeah.
Piano, pianissimo, 3-piece.
At the very end. Top.
But even if we think about the whole piece, the first movement, for example, is there's full orchestra there, but it should never feel like it's just a mass of sound. I don't think it works that way. You really need to bring out the main instruments that are singing, so the texture, it's very important. For me, my focus has been that to make sure that the texture is always as pristine as possible.
Transparent.
Yes.
Because in his orchestration, he puts a little color here, a little color there, and he passes one idea from the flute to the oboe, or from the violas to the second violins, and in these seamless transitions that changes ever so slightly the color. Yeah. So even though there are a lot of instruments, as you say, they're almost never used all at the same time. That's not the point. It's to have a bigger
this
palette.
morning we had moments like a very exquisite with that, right? It really felt like chamber music, that we could color something and then listen to this, listen to the singer. So it was really, I thought it was really beautiful moments in the rehearsal this morning.
You can say in every moment how the composer is trespassing the conducting line in the different instruments, and the voice, the treatment of the voice is the same thing. It's an instrument more.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is another reason why it's called a symphony.
Words.
Yes, it's called a symphony for a reason. You are another instrument. You're not just the centerpiece. Of course, the text is very important, but it is much more a totality of concept.
As in life.
As in life, yes. As in the Song of the Earth, maybe. What type of thoughts are you left with this work on perhaps on a higher level in terms of what it does to you personally, this wonderful masterpiece?
Maybe you can help me because he talked really fast.
What does this mean to you, this piece?
Oh, okay. Yeah. The first thing is challenge. Yeah. Because you need to feel the soul of the piece. That is the most important thing to transmit. To transmit not only not just the public, for the musicians too, because it's one whole piece. That is the most important thing, and I prepared this last week's goal or poetry. Thinking in a first first person.
Yes.
Reading the text, and then preparing the music, because it's really difficult. It's not ligeti, but it's difficult, you know. Then trying to put my voice in the correct way. because each piece needs a different ways to sing. You have a technica, but you need some skills, different skills, depends of the masterpiece that you facing.
And even in this piece, your role in the second, fourth, and sixth movements changes somewhat. You're the philosopher. You're the one considering the deeper questions and embracing the challenge. Very different from the first, third, and fifth movements. But you also have a different topic in a sense as you go through. You know, the lonely one in autumn, and of beauty, and celebrating life in a very particular way, and then of course the farewell. So it's a multifaceted role, but you have a consistency of thought.
The beauty about it. I propose. Propose again. No se dice, sí. Sí. The beauty is that it's not the real beauty.
No.
He always thinking in the beauty as a smoke.
Something disappeared.
Yeah, disappeared.
Yeah. What about you, Alejandra?
Well,
the piece.
For me, it has been really, really incredible to learn this piece. I like I mentioned before, the process of the rehearsing has been very incredible for me. Of course, like Patricio said, we study the text, and it has been, like I said before, so important for me to hear about the text over and over in these days, because it makes me really understand what this piece is about. And putting that into context with the orchestra, I mean, the imagination goes everywhere. It's really fantastic. So for me, it has been really a process of understanding this piece, and asking the questions that Mahler asked himself. No, I mean, I every day I think, the song of the earth, you know, what does that mean? You know, it's so important. You know, it's like, oh, the earth is alive, and I have to be able to, or I have to allow myself to listen to it. It's very profound.
It's very profound.
It's very profound.
And we hear nature through this piece, but I think you're right. There's a deeper need here to address what the earth is saying. You might think it's all about humans and their feelings, but the earth is always there. It's the constant, and it is that to which we return. And I think that's the song in a way. But many interpretations are possible.
There's not
one answer
for the nature.
That's right.
Yeah.
Nature doesn't die. So I hope that we will have some questions from our audience. I have a few here that have come through, and anyone wanting to ask questions, please either do that in the chat or in your way you can access the stream. I have a question here, one from Anthony Rauman, a question. Alejandra, what lessons do you learn from the Portillo experience, and how does this change your outlook as a conductor from year to year?
Yeah, well, for me, an experience like this, as a student, when I had them, it was really life-changing experiences. But now, as a I guess the artistic director of the festival, it's even more, because you realize that I'm giving this opportunity to transform the life of young musicians, and I really feel this, you know. I really believe in young musicians. That is why I feel almost responsibility to create these opportunities for young musicians. So yeah, that's what it is. It transforms my life, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing more beautiful than to see the eyes of young musicians that they're like eager to learn, and then when they achieve things, and when they smile, for me it's just that's it.
Well, like in the video, you can see all that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
No, please.
There is one interesting thing. That is, you can learn much more teaching than studying. Yeah,
It's true. It's true. And of course, your mission, especially Alejandra, in all the things, many things you've done, really ties into what this is all about. There was another question, and it's about the high standards that clearly have to be fulfilled. How are these selected? How are the students selected on a year-to-year basis? Why do you do that?
Yeah, they go through a process. They have to send videos and with a specific repertoire, and these videos are watched by the teachers and by me. So we grade them, and then we talk about them, and then we decide who to invite. It's not easy at all, because we want them all to be here. Huh?
There may well be students out there watching. How can they apply, and what should they be watching out for so that they can at least send in their interest?
Yeah, well, the festival is very, very intense in social media. So when the time comes to apply for the festival, we try to really do it in Facebook and Instagram. And of course, we have our webpage, which is www.portillofestival.com. And then they can look for the repertoire for next year, which is not ready yet. No. We have to finish this one. That's right. But that's the idea, that the young musicians can go into the webpage and look for the information.
So www.portillofestival.com, just look at that webpage and the announcement will come up.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, of course, there is going to be the big concert on Monday and Tuesday. I hear that on Tuesday there will be a live stream, or at least a recording of that performance, and there's no link for it yet, but you can watch that page too, right, for the connection?
Exactly. Go to the webpage of the festival and in social media. I'm sure we're going to also share the link with people, the audience.
Okay, I have another question here from Raymond Chan. Is this the first time a Mahler Symphony program has been programmed for this? Looking at the pictures and video, it seems that it would be a very fitting place to do Symphony number 3.
Well, yeah, it is first time that we do a Mahler piece here at the festival. We kind of went all the way this time. Also because after the pandemic, we wanted people to come back to the festival. And we have a bigger orchestra than normal. We have many guests that are joining the orchestra to play. But we wanted to have to experience something bigger this year, and we thought that Das Lied was the perfect piece for this nature. So maybe, you never know, maybe Mahler third for next season, you never know.
Well, sometime thereafter. It would certainly be appropriate. I couldn't agree more. The first movement, What the Mountains Tell Me, of course, is every day. You've seen some of the people watching, you've seen a little bit of what this looks like. Every day when you wake up and you look out on this incredible, gorgeous scenery, it's almost literally unbelievable how beautiful it is here, and it becomes part of your everyday. There's another question from Bert van der Waal van Dijk. How does the altitude affect how you should play, or does it affect how you should play and sing? And how do you get the right balance, both physically and in the ensemble?
We need to say, you said before, we are maybe 2,000 meters.
3,000.
Almost three.
Almost.
Yeah, that is a big challenge for the voice, for any singer.
Yeah. Is there any advice? I mean, does it get better after you spend some time here?
Well, the wind instruments suffer a lot here. So, and us too. So we are recommended that we walk slowly, we eat slowly, drink a lot of water, and yes, I remember hearing that the first 2 days the students had some issues. The woodwind students have issues with the instruments, so they do need to get adjusted to the altitude.
Right.
Yeah. It is a challenge being here, even as a spectator, and walking up the stairs, you definitely feel it for sure. Okay, I think those were the questions we had for our session today. I want to thank everyone for being here. Let me just say a few closing words. The Mahler Hour is brought to you by Mahler Foundation and contributors around the world. It's a monthly streaming event bringing together individuals interested in the composer, the thinker, the humanist, Gustav Mahler, as we explore not only his life and works, but also how his legacy can still inform essential aspects of the human experience and how we can turn that experience into the force for good in today's world. Become a member and support our activities. Now it's back to me now it's back to me out there. I want to thank our guests and all who have helped us. Alejandra Urrutia, the American String Quartet, Patricio Sabate, the students and staff of the Portillo Academy, as well as our production team, Marco Ayala, our community manager and technical support, Monica Anguiano, our executive director for administration, and Emmanuel Drop, my on-site camera operator and editor. The next edition of the Mahler Hour will be airing in February. That's our program for today. Stay safe. Thanks for watching.